Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Simple Tax Online Prepare training webinar. Um, so this is the first screen that you'll see when you log in. By default, it's going to go to the saved returns. Now, saved returns is any return that you have created but have not sent or filed. Your filed returns, filed returns tab. Amended returns will show up in amended returns tab. They will also, the original will also show up in the saved returns. It doesn't move it to the amended returns. It makes a copy so that you can amend it. Print checks. Checks will be there to print if you have authorization to print checks. I do, and it will tell you you do not have sufficient access to print checks. Bulletins are going to be bulletin information from the IRS, from the software if we need to take something offline in a few days, something like that. It will show up under the bulletin here. On the right-hand side, you'll see print blank forms. They'll give you an option to really print any form that you may need to print if you need to print a blank form of something. These are going to, links here will be for prior year returns, and then manuals will take you over to tutorials, office manuals, questionnaires, estimators, job aids, things like that. So on the tax return, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start with new return. Here's the new return I'm going to create for. I tend to put the tax return name as the customer's first and last name. Just tends to make it easier for me to carry forward. If the customer is a prior year customer, you just click that checkbox. It'll transfer prior year data when you enter the Social Security number. So hit submit. So here's the client information and forms list. It's the first place that it opens. I know he has dependents to claim. I know he has childcare to claim. Got a W-2. Got a Schedule C. I think that's good. So if he's got a resident state, those are here. Non-resident states are listed here. You can add as many non-resident states as you need to. Obviously, you can only have one resident state and be a resident. So we hit save. This takes us right in Form Manager, and as you see here, the filing status jumps immediately right out and says, okay, let's start here. So we're going to edit the filing status. In this particular case, he's going to file out of household. We hit save. We're going to enter the taxpayer information. So it's in his name. We're going to put in the social. Now, it doesn't just let you put randomness. You have to put a social that actually has the appropriate number. If they're applying for an ITIN number, you just check that box. The program does support ITIN numbers. You want to complete this taxpayer information page. If they're a victim of identity theft, they got the notice CP01A, go ahead and put that identity protection in there. So care of, if there's not a care of, skip it. Were you a U.S. citizen? Yes. So start entering phone numbers. If they have combat zones, you'll go ahead and enter that information. If you're using the text link, you want to go ahead and choose the cell phone provider that they have. Please be sure that you ask your taxpayer if it's okay for you to send them a text message about their return or their check prior to setting up to receive those text messages. By default, all of these questions are set to no. If for some reason you need to set them as yes, please do. All right, so let's go in and add dependents. That's one. you want to answer the dependent questionnaire, these blue links here, you can click those at any time. It'll give you more information about what they're asking about. So what was the relationship to the dependent? Son, 12 months. They're under the age of 19. If you need to add more, you just click add additional and you can add additional there. Add form W-2. So we'll go ahead and put this in. There we go. So you enter the company name here. You can enter the control if you have it. It's not required for you to do that. It is going to calculate boxes 3, 4, 5, and 6 automatically. So you just click save. I hit cancel by accident. Try that again. I'm pretty sure I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip that. Go back. Jump back into my return. So if you need a list of codes here, you can go ahead and click those on this side. Little trick, if you hit Control F on your keyboard, you can search for what you're looking for. If you click it, it will actually take you in here. If they have employer ID, go ahead and put that in. Include business income loss for the following state. If you have a state return, that's a great place to put it. Accounting method, you'll want to answer all of these questions needed. Now we can go into the business information. Now, click save. It's going to take you back out, kick you back to the forms manager screen. You want to hit up. You want to hit question number 2 on that. Gross receipts of sale, including reported on 1099-K. They've got a 1099-C or 1099 miscellaneous. You just want to enter that information here. Returns, allowances, other income, advertising expenses. Click that to use the mileage expenses part 4 if you know that you are that you're going to add. Depletion, office expenses, rent, or other property, those kinds of other expenses. You can click add more. That will always add there. Can add this 8829 for those expenses, but if you leave this form and don't come back, don't save before you do it, your information's not going to save. So I always recommend saving and coming back if you're going to do that home office. We don't need to worry about section 3, but it's section 4 that we want, and that's the vehicle. So you want to answer these questions. If you've got more than one vehicle, you can just start plugging in that information. Then you hit save here at the bottom. Let's go to the child care dependent care expenses. Daycare name, I don't know, Tiny Tots. ID type, let's do EIN. Amount paid, 3,000. You need to add more than one. You can go ahead and add more. I'll link there as well. You need to enter information where you can. You do need to answer the health insurance questions. These are more important than ever. So make sure you go over those with your customers. If you need to add prepare notes, you just click edit, add the prepare notes. Because we are out of the season and it's not letting me file, it will not let me calculate a return. I don't have the ability to go further than this with login. So I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in with master login. See if I can get. Yeah, I've got it. There we go. Okay. Now I can click calculate. This is going to then run a calculation on the return, and it's going to give us all of these things. Okay. So we know the return may be eligible for EIC. The program will determine eligibility based on the information that you provide in this federal worksheet section. If they may be eligible for EIC, it will show up here. If they're not eligible for EIC, none of these will be here. So if you click these red links, they will take you to where you need to go. So we're just going to go over here to the 8867. You just want to make sure you answer the questions here that you need to answer. Question 5A, was the taxpayer resident alien for any part of the year? No. Am I the qualifying child of another? No. Is child single? Yes. Is child qualifying child for anyone for any other person for EIC purposes? No. The answer 3A, yes or no. I'm sorry. You do not have to answer line 13B or 13C. Down here, taxpayers without qualifying children, if they have a child up here, don't fill this section out. Now you're into the part 4 EIC due diligence requirement. So tax preparers failing to comply with due diligence requirements may have to pay a $500 penalty for each failure to comply. Be sure that you answer these questions. That's the best you can do. Get the best information that you can possibly get. So answer to question 20 is going to be yes. Did you complete this form based on the information provided to you by the taxpayer or reasonably obtained by you? The answer to that is yes. If you have any qualifying children, if any qualifying child was not the taxpayer's son or daughter, okay, it was, so we can not apply. If the answer to question 13A is yes, okay, stop. It was no, so we go to apply. Did you ask the taxpayer any additional questions to meet your knowledge requirement? Information tell you all that good information about what you need. If there's a question you want to make sure you ask. We're going to go with does not. We're going to go with yes, and then it's going to ask you, did you document? Yes. Down here, you need documentation to prove the residency of the qualified child, school records, healthcare records, childcare records. Um, as many as you can get, the better. No one has ever been fined by the IRS for having too much paperwork. It's always the other way around, not having enough. There's no disabled child, so you go ahead and check that box where it says no disabled child. There is a Schedule C, but we had 1099, we had some bank statements, we had taxpayer summary of income, and he gave me the record. So you want to keep all 5 of the following records for 3 years from the latest of the dates specified in the instructions under document retention. 8867, EIC worksheet or your own worksheet, copy of any taxpayer documents, a record of how, when, and from whom the information was used to prepare the information, to prepare the form and worksheets was obtained, and a record of any additional questions you asked for the client. Want to keep those things from 3 years from the time that you file the return. So we're going to hit save and we're going to run a recalc. All right, errors. So we know what the gross income is. He's getting a giant tax return. He's got earned income credit. He's got federal withholdings. So, tax returns, he's looking at an $8,000 refund. If they are going to do a signature, you go ahead and click add signature here. You have to be used to do that. You can preview the return here. By previewing the return, it just gives you a PDF kind of printout of the actual return. So we're going to hit next. Up here, it's giving you part of the tax return section. That will print out that'll give you Form 8879 and the consent to use. The 8879. You want to print the consent to use form. We'll load this window. Hit next. Then choose the refund options. At this point, bank products are disabled, so that isn't an option for us. So I'm going to go ahead and hit check, collect fees at signing. We're going to mark this return as favor filed. We're not even going to mess with any of those other things. We're going to opt out of the, if you want the Protection Plus, it's added by default. You can opt out here if you don't want the audit protection. If you would like to consult Dr. Plus, you can do that here, but you can only do that here if you're doing a bank product. If you're not doing a bank product, you'll have to locate another place to find that. There's a link that you can give out to your payers. So we're going to hit next. So since I did pay by cash or IRS check, I need to collect my fees up front. So I can put in the cash I received from taxpayer, and he paid me a total of $389.10. You click add payment. Next will be grayed out. It will not let you forward until you click add payment. There is a zero balance. So we're going to mark it paper. You want to hit the checkbox to submit. Add taxpayer if you need to do anything. As far as if you need to add their signature to the final tax return and you're using signature pads, you hit add taxpayer. Real quick before we file, I want to open these up real quick. So here you can attach documents if you're using the Motorola scanner, or if you have uploaded or you're using some other scanner. The signed documents will show up in here. If you need to send the taxpayer text message, you'll enter that here. You enter the message content, and then you hit send text message. It will send text. So we're going to hit file. So the return's been sent to the IRS. It's mailed via EPS, and that's when it gives you the option to print the tax return. Print the tax return. It'll pop right up, and then you just hit. It's a PDF, so you just hit print, or you can hit print here as well. As you see in the return listing, there's no Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is gone because he's been filed. We go into filed returns. Now, if we need to amend the tax return for whatever reason, we'll click amend. At that point, as you did not leave here, but now it is over here. You file when you amend a return. At that point, you'll come in here. You'll amend whatever return. So let's go back. We'll edit business income, for example. Let's go to line 2 and say, no, that wasn't supposed to be 15,000. That's supposed to be 15,500. you didn't put it in right. So you do save. Come back down, and there's amend notes. This is where you're putting your explanation for amendment. Describe the changes. Changed. See gross receipts. 15,000 to 500. Hit save. And at that point, you're going to generate a 1040X inside the return, and it says you will need to print the 1040X before you change forms and mail it to the IRS. Kind of gives you instructions that there. Federal extensions are filed in the same fashion they have filed. Right now, it's not available anymore because you can't file an extension, but you'll just fill out the fillable form, print it, mail it off. Again, blank forms, you can print blank forms from here for any U.S. any form that you want to within reason. One of the most popular ones I see being filled out right now are the two diagnostic forms and the identity theft affidavit. Those two things have been quite a bit. And this is good because it kind of says, these are the documents for the children you have and all those good things. Print those off. All right, so that's as simple as it gets with preparing a tax return. If your office is using statuses for non-filed returns, so the status on a filed returns is mailed via VPS anyway. So if you come in here, you can do ready for e-file, and that will let whoever needs to know what the status of that return is, or hey, I'm waiting on docs for this person, so thought back, go ahead and get those documents for me. And that's where you can put a prepare a note or something like that into account. I want to thank everyone for their time today. We're looking forward to a wonderful tax season, and we really appreciate your business. And again, I want to thank you, for being a part of Simple Tax and a part of what we're trying to do here. That's the end of our webinar for today. Webinars will be posted to our support portal at www.simpletaxsupport.com. Customer support is available and ready to go. We're staffed fully now, and our support phone number is 281-833-9300. Option 2 will get you to customer support. Again, thank you guys for your time today, and we'll talk to you very soon.